Hello and welcome back to another episode of Internal Rambles. This is your girl Rochelle, and we are continuing to review Love and Marriage DC Season 1. This is episode 8. A few quick announcements before I get into the review and recap. As you may or may not know, these are my bonus episodes. My normal podcast episodes releases every Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My bonus episodes, my reality recaps, releases whenever I am able to do them. This is a little bit later than normal because I had a busy weekend, but here we are. As I have mentioned, if you are returning, thank you for coming back. If you're new, welcome. I do plan on reviewing and recapping Married at First Sight. The official premiere of Married at First Sight is this week, July 6th. I did watch the matchmaking episode. I did not watch the episode that followed the prediction episode. I do not start getting into Married at First Sight until they are at the honeymoon phase, so you will not get those recaps until they are at that point in the season. And if you have been here before, I love Ready to Love, which is also on OWN Network, as is Love and Marriage DC, and that is coming back July 29th. I will not be reviewing that and recapping that, not every episode, but I would like to do my reality recaps. I will maybe recap every couple of episodes. So excited that is coming back. That must be one of OWN's most popular shows, because they don't waste no time, honey. They is like, listen, this is a fan favorite, a popular hit. We is gonna get this thing going, because I think the last season ended in May. So this they are not wasting no time getting back into it. I did not like the 2 previous seasons ago. That season was a mess. Last season wasn't too bad, so hopefully this season's gonna be even better. They are in Miami this coming season, so hopefully this season is gonna be really good. So Ready to Love is coming back on July 29th. Okay, child, this episode, I watched it, and then I watched it kind of paying attention and then not paying attention as I was doing other things. But there was a point in this show where I was hooting and hollering, laughing. This episode was a mess, and not in a bad way. It just was kind of comical, something that happened. But let's get into it. So this episode picks off where last episode left off, with Winter and Alana going in at it with each other. Alana not being happy that Winter has nicknames for her husband and Ashley's husband. Winter calls Ashley's husband DJ Fun Size, and she calls Alana's husband Red Light Special, because something happened where Alana was calling her husband or something, and he said he fell asleep at a red light. I don't know. Something convoluted like that. So Winter calls Jamie Red Light Special. Winter, low-key, high-key, Winter is funny. She be having nicknames that are hilarious. And as someone who's like actually very sarcastic herself, I actually can appreciate Winter's humor. But them girls don't like it. So Winter and Alana are going at it, and Alana gets very, very upset, and she starts saying, listen, don't you be giving my husband no nickname. I don't like it. I never said that my husband be cheating. Your husband's the one that was cheating. He the one that had the baby. And this really upsets Winter, because she's like, listen, we're not bringing this up. We're not talking about my husband, my ex-husband. And Alana in her, like, I don't know what they call when they're just talking to the camera, confessional diary, whatever. She's like, I was doing everything to get under. I was upset and I was doing everything I could to get under Winter's skin. And I was watching, when I was rewatching this, I was like, what is it about Winter that, and I'm not, Winter was bringing the drama, but they have only had a couple of interactions with Winter. What is it about Winter that upsets these women so much that they be ready to almost knuck and buck and throw them elbows? And they say like, oh, she makes me get out of character. But really, like, does she? Y'all be going at it at her. What is it? And I was thinking about it, and is it that she is hitting a sore spot, that she's bringing up stuff that you've thought about, that you've wondered, and you don't want to look bad on camera, or you're concerned about, but you don't want nobody to know, that she's maybe poking at points in your marriage that you don't want her to like, what is it? Because she really is only like regurgitating what you've told her. And she's not really doing it in a malicious way. She's stirring the pot a little bit, but not to the point where they be really like, Alana was putting her finger in Winter's face all over some harmless nicknames. She's like, as the show is going on, now, I'm not team anybody really. This is the first season. Winter is actually pretty harmless. She does stir the pot. But these women are just going crazy over, and it's just, it's team too much, and they really do hit really low belt with her. And they can't stand her. The energy really doesn't seem to be as matched as they keep it almost seemed like Mean Girls type of a thing. And Winter's out here fighting for her life. And hopefully I'll get into this. Monique is the one who is supposed to be her friend, and Monique is not really being very friend-like. So at a certain point, Winter's like, you know what? I'm tired of this. You're doing too much. And she leaves. And I understand, because Alana just was so elevated, hitting below the belt, saying all the most craziest stuff. And nothing was getting resolved because she was so upset. So I'm glad that Winter left, because it wasn't a fruitful conversation at all. She wanted to argue. She wanted to tell Winter off. She wanted to hurt Winter's feelings. She wasn't trying to resolve anything. She wanted to go at Winter. So I'm glad that she did leave that conversation. Next up in the episode, all the couples minus Winter, all the castmates minus Winter, they come to an event. It's the CIAA in Baltimore. It's Jamie's event, and I think that DJ Quick is DJing it. And so they get together, and the ladies bring up, Alana brings up that she met with Winter, and how she brings up the fact that when she was meeting with Winter, she asked, do you think you have a mental issue because what's going on with your husband? And the one cast member that's kind of like in and out, Tasha, was like, that was really a low blow. Like, why would you even ask her that? And she's trying to defend what she's saying, and there's no defense for that. So it's like she couldn't defend it. And Tasha brings up, like, I've talked to Winter, like, Monique, you're supposed to be her friend. Maybe you should check on her. And so Alana's like, yeah, Monique, you should check her. And Tasha's like, no, I didn't say check her. There's nothing that you should check her about. You should check on her. Check how she's doing emotionally. She's going through a lot. So Monique is like, yeah, I should check on her, etc., etc. Like, Tasha's the only one that's like trying to see Winter's side of the story, because Monique is like, I don't know what's going on. I've known her. I don't know this side of her. She's doing the most. And it's like, you are the one that actually knows her, but yet you're on the side of these other women that's going out at her. It's like, Monique, what are you doing? Like, what's the problem here? You should be the one that's saying, you know, I don't know Winter to be like this, she's that, she's a good person. And you the one that's like, yeah, she acting out of pocket, da, 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 da. Like all this crazy stuff. It's like, what kind of friend are you, Monique? Like, you should at least be neutral or at least saying positive things about her, but she's not. And during that whole interaction, Arana's going off, and Jamie's like, "Listen, this is my event. Like, we shouldn't be talking about this." He gets kind of aggressive. He like kind of like grabs Arana's face and like, "Yo, stop talking about this. We need to be enjoying ourselves." And it kind of takes people off guard. Like, man, he being aggressive. So Jamie can be aggressive. I don't know what's going on with that, but it seems like Alana is used to that behavior. So I don't know. So Monique and Winter finally meet up and have a discussion, and Winter is like, I don't know how comfortable I feel talking to Monique, because whatever I say to her gets back to Alana and Ashley. But they do have a conversation, and Monique is like, listen, I'm hearing all of this stuff, and it seems like your initial portrayal of your outings with Ashley and Alana wasn't really what happened. I'm hearing that, you know, you're saying all these things, like, what's going on? I've known you. I haven't known this behavior. And she's like, listen, you're getting this, but these women have been very mean to me. I just had a meeting with Alana, and she was asking me if I had a mental issue, and Monique is taken aback, and she's like, what? And so they both have a discussion, and she's like, you know, it seems like everything has gone out of control. Like, we should have a decent friendship, or at least understanding. We're all working moms. We should be able to hang out and have fun, and there shouldn't be this animosity. And it sounds like, and so Winter gets upset, and she starts tearing up, and she's like, you don't understand, like, these things that these women are doing and saying, it's really affecting me. And I'm, you know, and she's like, I'm realizing, like, I've got a lot going on. I'm going through divorce. I'm trying to raise my kids. I have this career. And then these women are being atrocious to me. It's just a lot to handle, and you have not been there for me. And so basically Monique was like, I'm just so used to you being so, like, strong and productive and all this. I didn't know you were going through this, but now that I know, I will be supportive. So it was a good conversation, because Winter basically was like, listen, like, you supposed to be my friend, and you out here doing the most, and these women who are your friend, they're not my friends, are attacking me, and you're not supporting me. And so I'm glad that Winter was able to have that conversation with her. And Monique was like, everyone needs to own their part in all of this. Everyone has done something negative. Are you willing to have a conversation with them? And then hopefully we can move forward. And Winter, you know, she was agreeable to that. So it was a good conversation between the both of them. Next up, Jamie and Alana meet with that energy lady. I don't know. And it was a kind of a weird portion. It was like an unfinished portion in the show, because the energy lady was like, you know, Alana, when I look at you, it seems like you really hold in your emotions, and it seems kind of fake. And with Jamie, she's like, for you, I see that you've had a very strict upbringing, and that you don't take that, for you it's very difficult to be around nurturing energy, which is very conflicting, because you're married to a very feminine, nurturing woman. And it seems like he was kind of like understanding of that, like, yeah, that's probably true. And so then she's like, you know, hey, do you love your wife? And then it cuts off and they don't go back to it. And I was like, did I miss a part of this? And I'm like, I'm still confused. Like, did my DVR not record this whole show? Because, like, why didn't they show the response to that? So I don't know, that was kind of weird, but that's what happened. Then next up, Chris and Monique. I don't know what it was that they went to do. I think it was like kind of like a couples yoga, sexy yoga thing. But at the end of that, Monique, and she has said this before, like she really wants Chris to find because Chris is retired from football. She really wants him to find his next career, his next passion. She doesn't want him to just be at home with the kids, and because she doesn't at the end of the day want him to be kind of like waffling away, but also regretful and kind of not doing anything. And then at the end of the day, it's like you have that remorse, like, man, I could have been doing this, I could have been doing that. And then like Chris kind of checks Monique, because she's like, I was talking to my girlfriends and I was complaining about you. And he was like, yo, why every time you hang out with your friends you come back and say you was complaining about me? Like, all I hear is negativity. I'm at home, I'm helping with the kids because you're at the radio show, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Pretty much everything you ask me to do, I do, and all I hear is what I'm not doing. Like, how about you tell me what I am doing? How about you tell me something positive? And so she apologizes for that, and she's like, I will work on that, not just saying negative things, and basically being more positive in the marriage, because it's not like he's not doing anything. It's not like he's he's retired, he's out in the streets with his boys, and he ain't never at home, and she don't know what he's doing. Like, he's at home with the kids, helping to raise the kids. So I think that was really important for her to hear. Now, this part, I tell you, this is the part that had me cackling. This is the end of the show. Almost the end of the show. Quick Jamie and Chris meet up at this lounge. It's actually Peter Thomas's lounge, and you may know him from Atlanta Housewives. And he's actually shown really briefly in the show. They meet up, and they meet Kevin. So Chris actually knows Kevin a little bit, but Quick and Jamie does not know Kevin. And if you may be wondering who's Kevin, Kevin is the estranged husband of Winter that they kind of call him, well, she's called him the scammer. He is the one she's trying to get divorced from. This man shows up with a briefcase and receipts like he was on trial. And when I tell you I was cackling, I was like, why this man is here ready for trial? So basically, he pulled out receipts trying to clear his name, because we've only heard Winter's side of the story. He's a scammer. He did this. His business partners are suing him. Blah, blah, blah. I need a divorce. Yada, yada, yada. So he comes through, and he's like, listen. And so someone says, oh, well, you're Winter's ex. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm Winter's husband. I'm still married. I got my ring on. I was like, oh, Lord, it's about to go down. So he pulls out this massive pile of papers, like this clip of papers. And they're like, what's that? And he's like, well, she wrote a book about our marriage. We were together for 15 months, 18 months, something like that. And she wrote about this blissful marriage, how we was traveling, and, basically what he was saying, like, if I was so horrible, why did she write this book about our marriage? And I was like, well, okay. So then he pulls out like these papers. Basically, he's like, as far as I got people suing me, and he pulls out like the paperwork of like the lawsuit, the trial, the whatever, the I don't know, the suit paper, like the lawsuit papers. And so Chris cuts him off, and he's like, listen, we ain't got time for the whole story. Like, basically what you're trying to say is, you had a business partner that was not telling the truth, or that was, you had a how do you say it, like a dishonest partner, and so your company is getting sued due to that dishonest partner, not because of anything that you've done. And so that was kind of the gist. And so it's like, yeah, my company is getting sued. I'm a part of this lawsuit, but not because of anything that I've done. It's because of this dishonest partner. So, at the end of the day, Quick is like, so what I learned from this meeting with Kevin is, it's not Kevin that's the problem, it's Winter. And the unfortunate thing about this is, they already don't like Winter. So he comes in with receipts. Now, when you come with receipts, which what they perceive to be receipts, first of all, so Jamie's like, yo, Kevin got to give a gab. So I don't know what Jamie's perception is of Kevin. Quick is like, oh, Winter's the problem. But they already don't like Winter. So, they say there's three sides to the truth. There's person's A side, person B side, and there's like the actual truth. My perception, I don't know what to believe, because it sounds like she did not vet him. There's a lot that she didn't know before she married him. I didn't know I didn't know she wrote books. I didn't know she wrote a book about their marriage. And then he's like, yo, like the lawsuit really isn't about me. The company is getting sued. So it's like, is he a scammer? I don't know. Potentially, it sounds like she fell head over heels in love with him really quickly, got to know him and fell out of love with him, and now she wants a divorce. As she got to know him, maybe there were some things about him that she didn't like, and then she was like, okay, I got to get out of this marriage, because they weren't together that long, that potentially. And so now it's easy to point the finger and be like, oh, he's a scammer, oh, he's this, oh, he's that, because don't nobody really know him like that. But no, it sounds like you really didn't know the man that you married, just in general, because you didn't know him. You didn't really get to know him prior to marrying him. So you may feel scammed, but it takes time to get to know a person. So maybe he's really not that bad of a person, but it really just sounds like she just overall didn't get to know him. And so it's unfortunate if he really is a pretty decent guy and she's putting all this out about him. Because honestly, I think Winter is a bit off the cuff, a little bit, just a little bit. But that doesn't make her a bad person. But the fact that she had never went to his place, she didn't even know where he truly lived before she married him, suggests that she really didn't even get to truly know him before they got married. So I think that may be what really truly happened. She didn't really get to know him. Then she got to know him, and then it was like, oh, and now he's having some financial problems based off some bad business with some other folk. But that may not be really truly his fault. Maybe it's bad partnerships, and maybe he was, involved with some pyramid scheming type of stuff. But, hey. But I think it's unfortunate that I think he has a right to try to clear his name as well. And so that is my recap. Oh wait, no, there's another part in this show. I'm sorry. So at the end of the show, all of the couples are going on a couples retreat, and Jamie and Alana and Ashley and Quick learn that Monique invited Winter, but she's only going to be there for a portion, because I guess she recommended a sex therapist. And so Monique's like, I can't not invite her. She invited the sex therapist, and she's only staying for that portion of the retreat. So then Chris was like, well, I invited my boy Kevin, right? I can't not invite Kevin. And I'm like, is this for the show? Y'all just want things to be messy. And the preview, the little snippet, it just looks like Winter freaks out when Kevin comes through. Yeah, next episode is going to be a hot mess. So that is my recap of Love and Marriage DC. I will say, because I have said, I don't know about this season, this one was entertaining. Winter and Kevin, that mess is that marriage is entertaining, because it's just like, what had to happen? So this was an entertaining episode, I will say. And that is my recap. Listen, thank you for tuning in. You can catch me wherever you get your podcasts, whether that is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon. I am on YouTube, and typically my episodes release within a couple hours of where you get your other podcasts on other sites. Sometimes it's a little bit of a delay for my episodes to release on YouTube. But if you want to interact with me, tell me your thoughts on anything that I release on my podcast. What are you feeling about this episode of Love and Marriage DC? Go on over to Internal Rambles on YouTube. When you search for me over there, just type in Internal Rambles, no space, and I will pop up. My normal content, as I have said, releases every Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe to me so that as soon as I post, you get my episodes. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And until next episode, take care of yourselves and talk to you soon.